Hey everyone, Chloe here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, ladies, lurkers, and reformed masculinas, welcome. So today's feminine school video will be all about the wounded feminine, what it is, how it comes back to bite, how it comes back to haunt us, and how it contributes to the continual perpetuation of generational curses, inherited ignorance, poor decision making, attracting ashy dusties, and how it contributes to so much personal unhappiness and misery in women. And for those of you who need a deeper backstory about all of the nonstop drama that Nicki Minaj is currently experiencing, you can follow me on Hypergamous Hive on Instagram. But when it comes to breaking generational curses, a woman must address and or be aware of her wounded feminine and how it tends to show up in her life, because only you ladies can do the feminine homework of taking your womanhood journey to the next level, and only you can do the feminine makeover work and the self-esteem makeover work that is necessary for your feminine healing and your feminine recovery. And this is whether you are a regular person or a celebrity. And feminine recovery is what this channel is all about. Now, the wounded feminine pretty much infects every modern woman alive, and no woman will go unscathed. But Black women in particular, and celebrity Black women, due to our very unique historical womanhood relationship with the world, historically, and some feathers may be ruffled to hear this because it is a painful reminder, but historically Black women who were once property in many generational cases and have historically always been an unprotected class of women. And due to this lack of protection, whether you are famous or not, Black women have had the most historical trauma and have had the strongest inherited trauma and dysfunction when it comes to generational curses. But when the wounded feminine is not addressed, ladies, or when it is buried, or when it is not put on a leash, the wounded feminine will wreak havoc and will block your feminine divine in ways that are devastating to your womanhood reality, like not attracting providers and protectors and attracting the worst of the worst to your doorstep, or not attracting men who cherish and adore you because you are so knee deep in your masculine, or repeating the disempowering, unfeminine things that were modeled to you. Because when a woman is dripping in her wounded feminine, her presence will radiate stress and unpleasantness. She will have a blind spot for predators. And not only will she lack feminine softness, but this wounded feminine energy will also put a woman in the very dangerous territory of being anti-seductive. And anti-seductiveness is like the equivalent of death when it comes to the art of attraction. Now, the wounded feminine is a transferred, passed down energy that we as women inherit from our mothers and or the women who raised us. And when it comes to womanhood, comment below by answering this question. What did your mother teach you about men? And whether we would like to admit it or not, as women, our mothers are responsible for being our greatest womanhood influence. And some of you who are listening have had amazing motherhood and womanhood examples. And some of you were taught absolutely nothing about your femininity and were modeled absolutely nothing but dysfunction and struggle love. Now, on a personal wounded feminine note, I am a parentified daughter. And for those of you who don't know, parentification is role reversal between a child and a parent, and is a rampant unspoken practice in the Black community where the parent becomes the child and the child becomes the parent. And I am also a daughter of a mother who has a strong narcissistic nature. So I was always given the womanhood script of putting the needs of others above my own. And contrary to popular belief, I was not taught a thing about the feminine divine. So I am a testimony, ladies, that no matter your origin story, you can overcome it with the power of unlearning all of the damaging generational curse trash that you were taught and modeled and engineered to be. But this unlearning all starts with awareness. And let me remind you all who are listening that just because a woman is famous does not make her aware of her feminine divine. Success is a byproduct of hard work, not a mirror of self-esteem or unconditional self-love. So no, success will not cure your blind spots, nor will it cure your damaged frequency. Now, when the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, which I will be making a video on, so look out for that one. But when the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine are arguing back and forth, and you will see this redundant echo chamber, same soup, reheated, back and forth content disguised as wisdom. But when the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine are constantly going at it, nobody wins, and both the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine who are committed to digging their heels into circular dead end conversations and who are committed to swimming in the cesspool of toxic dysfunction, both the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine will always lose. And as we all know, losing is a very sad reality that can be very painful, which is why you need to subscribe to this channel so that you can start focusing on winning and so that you can stop losing in your womanhood. Now, the wounded feminine in a nutshell is a woman who is mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally broken and or disconnected from her feminine divine in ways that are disempowering, soul crushing, and destroying. And this wounded feminine is usually buried under a woman's material success and her accomplishment. That is the trick of success. It will blind you to the need for your own personal healing. But the wounded feminine is not tattooed on your forehead, but it will show up in your relationship choices and in the circles that a woman gravitates towards. But the wounded feminine is a surefire pathway to chronic unhappiness, poor decision making when it comes to men, and the manifesting of a bleak reality and or having a bleak outlook on life. The wounded feminine, in my personal opinion, is mostly a spiritual disconnection that will put a woman on a path of accumulated emptiness and brokenness. The wounded feminine is also a feeling of being consumed by fear, pettiness, negativity, and dread. And it is a debilitating energy that will block and or sabotage your desirability and the highest expression of the feminine divine, which is a woman's goddess energy. And for those of you who don't know, a goddess is simply a woman who is self-possessed in the personal ownership of her feminine divine at the highest of levels. But to become a goddess, the blockages of the wounded feminine must be worked on and put into proper perspective so that it doesn't control you. So in many ways, your goddess stature will truly be dependent upon how much you have mastered the wounded feminine. Now, the wounded feminine is also an overinvestment or a high level commitment to all things disempowering that will lead you to stuckness, being stagnant, and allowing your damage, your hurt, your shame, and or your low self-esteem to control and to influence your decision making. And our romantic relationships are typically the spaces where the wounded feminine will show up and show out, which is a very common experience with accomplished women who will often confuse success with worth and self-esteem, and who will often confuse a woman having a huge financial bag with knowing how to choose better men. But if you are ignorant to the health of your own feminine divine, then how would a woman know how to attract a healthy relationship, as is the case with Nicki Minaj and so many other successful women? And the answer is you won't. In most cases, when we are ignorant of our own powers as women, we are doomed as women to move in the ways of our damaged mothers and our damaged grandmothers, and we are often doomed to repeat the generational curse out of sheer toxic habit, whether we have a strong money bag or not. So having your own money or having access to fame and fortune will only illuminate and expose more of who you truly are. And having access to a higher caliber of men are not the automatic opportunities that you think they are. So here are 16 signs of the wounded feminine and how it will show up in your life when you lack feminine awareness. Number 16, you are energized by arguing, debating, yelling, screaming, or being combative. Ladies, the wounded feminine in many ways is a cry for help and is your femininity crying to be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged, and to not be invisible. Number 15, you generally lack softness, kindness, compassion, grace, ladylike energy, or the ability to be kind to others. So people will generally experience you as a hardened woman. Number 14, you take yourself way too seriously and or you lack a sense of humor or a sense of playfulness, which will make you a woman who is absolutely no fun to be around. Number 13, your overall feminine presence is dull, lacking electricity, aliveness, or is completely devoid of desirability energy. Number 12, you listen to react, to overreact, or you listen to debate, and or you have very little impulse control over your feelings, or you have a tendency to go overboard with wanting to always be right. The wounded feminine, ladies, will make you very rigid. Number 11, you have a very pessimistic, narrow-minded, the glass is half empty mindset, a poverty mindset, or you have a habit of believing that only bad things will happen to you. Ladies, this is what it means when your trauma controls your life. Number 10, you are very judgmental of others without examining your own flaws or looking into your own broken mirror. Finger wagging and only looking at the flaws of others, which is an even bigger sign that you are hiding from your own demons. And number 9, your whole life is full of chaos and instability, and you attract it like a magnet, or you tend to constantly feel disjointed, disconnected, unwell, or out of balance in all of the important womanhood areas of your life, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Number 8, you lack gratitude and cannot seem to find a reason to feel thankful or a sense of life appreciation. That is a huge red flag sign of depression and, in my personal opinion, spiritual emptiness. Number 7, you see yourself as a victim. You generally tend to feel that you are owed and or you are waiting on an apology or you are waiting to be rescued. But ladies, only you can rescue your own womanhood and only you are responsible for your own healing, as damaged people who have hurt you cannot heal you. Number 6, you are resistant to change, evolution, and growth. If you are the same person that you are at 36, that you were at 27, you are immature and you are committed to being stuck. Number 5, you are a negativity junkie. You are drawn to crime, spiritual darkness, and you otherwise use negativity to self-soothe and to feel alive. Number 4, you have unhealed daddy wounds, daddy trauma that causes you to have a deep hatred, animosity, or a jadedness for men, or you are overly invested in your misandry because the little girl inside of you is hurt and broken. Ladies, when you don't heal your daddy wounds, they will always come back to haunt you. Number 3, you have weak boundaries. You are a people pleaser or you have a tendency to prioritize others at the expense of yourself. This was me. Being a people pleaser is something that we learn in our childhoods, and people pleasing will rob you of your feminine divine when you are weak at creating standards and or having boundaries. Number 2, you are energized by domineering, controlling, and or masculine energy to feel powerful and to feel in control. And women who want to be in control usually lack vulnerability. And domineering women will always attract weak men or passive aggressive men who are in their wounded masculine. And number 1, you do not know how to rest. The wounded feminine is highly connected to overworking, being a mule or a workhorse, working till exhausted, and is deeply connected to not knowing how to restore, refresh, or recharge your feminine batteries. Ladies, when you don't know how to rest or how to give yourself the feminine gift of leisure, your spirit will be fussy, cranky, grouchy, and more importantly, angry and resentful. Ladies, feminine women take breaks. They take vacations. They have spa days. They take mental health breaks by meditating. They take the time out of their lives to smell the roses. And they do not apologize for putting a premium on having high quality rest. So that is all that I have to say on this for now. The wounded feminine, when not acknowledged or repressed, will control and wreak havoc over your life and will attract the damaging men that show up to your doorstep. But the first step in any journey is awareness. The second step, and it is a huge step, is admitting that you are wounded and that you need repair. And the last step will be the level of your commitment to unlearning, evolving, growing, and taking feminine action. So ladies, can you admit that you are wounded? Is Nicki Minaj wounded? Was your mom or the woman who raised you wounded? And are women unhappy with themselves because of this wounded feminine divine? And as always, I look forward to reading your amazing responses to this video below. And stay tuned for more Feminine School videos to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.